Oh, good day, everybody. This is Yin Yang in California. Uh, this is Morsels of a Thought, number 1759. I bring you daily morsels of a thought of wisdom, hopefully, that we learn the right things to do. Knowing the right things to do is a form of having wisdom. And then actually doing it is taking action and creating virtue. So I'm so sorry I'm out of it this morning. I'm so out of it this morning. I almost decided to um, repeat last week because I have some neighbor 2 floors above me decided it was a good idea to put water in her sink, turn on the faucet, and leave the room until the until it flooded all the way to the ground floor, and she's on the 9th floor. So that tells you something. Anyway, so I have machines in my apartment right now that you can't hear because I think the phone can filter out the sound, and I am listening to this with all my might right now. So I'm just going to say that this is a rather unusual morning for me. My cats also are protesting a bit because my cats have sensitive ears, as all cats do. So I am so out of it. It is crazy. I want to bring you a synopsis of other people's life stories, wisdom. Today, it's from Greg S. Reid and Ben Haldeman, Lunar Legacy, DNA of Success. We are gathering wisdom from other people. So we're on chapter 15, which is on page 78 in this book. While social media interactions had never been Ben's favorite, he found that he got better at spreading his message and interacting with his followers over time. Just as in everything he did that made him uneasy, he knew that the best way for him to overcome it and improve was to actually do it. With time and repetition, it would get easier, and along the way, he'd get better at it. That's what he'd done in everything in the past, from public speaking to taking his awkward, somewhat clumsy dance moves to the next level. Ben's confidence had grown, and when he went live on social media again, answering questions and discussing everything from black holes to whether people would live on the moon in the future or if our world would be like the Jetsons. Occasionally, personal questions would pop up, which were more difficult to answer, but people were getting to know him intimately as he established more of a presence. He didn't know if it was because he was opening up to his listeners more, or if they were becoming his friends. Perhaps both. Ben made himself and the subject of space travel relatable to everyone. As they grew to know him, people began sharing memes with him, and his favorite on this particular day was, if you think about the vastness of space and how enormous our galaxy is, and how big our planet is, and how small we are, I'm not really eating all that much cheese. Everyone had a meme they wanted to share, including Ben. So he started sharing them too. I apologize for reading this way. I am sort of preoccupied with. The thing is that I may get black lung disease because I can smell the mold in the air at this moment as I'm reading. So please forgive me for being a little out of it. Back to page 79 by the authors. Ben learned a lot about everyone who was willing to share. They were his people and had grown to be his biggest supporters. The longer comments grabbed his attention the most. He liked to hear the backstory of each of their legacies. Lisa Harrington shared that she was in the military for 20 years. That alone was an impressive legacy. Soldiers often carried their values from the military back home with them after they served. So Ben was half expecting to find a motto from boot camp that she still lived by at home. What he got was so much more than boot camp. Wow. Larissa, Larisa, explained that she had seen people burn out and neglect their own health because they were focused on their missions within the military, but she also saw the same patterns back home. When you're not caring for yourself, you can't be your best self. You cannot do your work meaningfully, she reflected. This made Ben think of a phrase his doctor had once told him. Wincing, he recalled an ankle injury he was hoping he could just walk off. Now, listen, when this man says he was wincing when he was talking about it, what happens is when we do talk about our old injuries, it does recall it does recall the pain. So, not a good thing to remind people of past pain or past diseases or past illnesses. Not a good idea. That is some wisdom I picked up from the YXLST that I've done. Anyway, back to the authors here. This made Ben think of a phrase his doctor had once told him. Wincing, he recalled an ankle injury he was hoping he could just walk off. But when it wasn't getting any better, the doctor stated, "Your health can get better or it can get worse, but it will not go away even if you ignore it." Larissa shared this. Larissa shared this wisdom with Ben. My legacy to pass on to the future is you can make a positive impact in the world without sacrificing your health. We should all be contributing to society in a positive way. That is how the world keeps improving, growing, and moving forward. But we all need to understand that we don't have to sacrifice ourselves as individuals. We can't show up to do our best for others if we're not taking care of ourselves. We can't give our all to one another and only do the bare minimum for ourselves. People get burnt out and are unable to give any more, but they're also unable to care for themselves mentally and emotionally once they reach that state, end quote. So I'm thinking I may have my show in a different location tomorrow. That may be a good idea. Because my nose is stinging as I read. So this is from the mold in the air. The water is between the walls and they're blowing it out everywhere. Ben, okay, Lunar Legacy, DNA of Success by Greg S. Reid and Ben Haldeman. The magic is in taking action to do the right things that we know how to do. That is called taking advantage of your wisdom and committing virtue. So, back to the book. The authors say, Ben loved reading her message. It sounded like Destiny's philosophy on health. Destiny read so much more Destiny read so much about self care when she was studying yoga that she had created a list of best care practices that she took with her everywhere. He remembered a few: follow skincare routine, listen to music, walk outside, and call mom. Destiny knew that if she wasn't doing these things regularly, she was likely neglecting other important necessities like eating well and getting enough sleep. He continued reading Larissa's words. I mostly work on mindfulness and emotional intelligence. Focus on being aware of what's happening in and around you. We're all connected, so it's important to pay attention to what's happening in us. I ask, where in me needs to be healed? That way, I can address my feelings and needs before they become bigger problems in my life. If we ignore them, they keep growing until we're forced to deal with them because they've become much bigger issues. I want people to keep in mind that self care isn't selfish, it's necessary. It's not all manicures and days off. It starts with basic needs and develops from there. When I take care of myself, I can show up for others even more fully. End quote. Ben recalled getting a cold every year around the week of finals in college because he was run down, sleep deprived, and generally wasn't taking care of himself. He lived on energy drinks and frozen burritos and studied all night just to make sure he passed and kept his GPA up. Ben knew he had to be careful not to repeat those days as he became busier with work. The increased demands on his time with Luna and the launch could all cause them to neglect their self care. Destiny was better than Ben at taking care of herself, so Ben would have to take a few tips from her. Quote, my legacy to leave is this, quote within a quote. You can make a positive impact in the world without sacrificing your health. End quote within a quote and end quote. Larissa summed up with pride. She wanted to help others respect their health, regardless of whatever great things they had achieved in their lives. Without your health, you have nothing. Boy, oh boy, oh boy, we're talking serious stuff here. We're talking serious stuff. We're talking serious stuff because when we have the problems and we're not aware of what's around us, we can actually cause problems such as the neighbor did for other people. So forgive and eventually forget, but I certainly hope I don't get black lung disease. Jesus Christ, I'm sorry. Ben wished this was without your health, you have nothing. Ben wished this was something his mom had taught him during his childhood. She would hover over him to make sure he finished his schoolwork, return his library books, and do his chores. By the time he was 9, he could do those things on his own, but sometimes she wouldn't trust him with basic responsibilities like taking out the trash. It wasn't until adulthood that he realized she saw his responsibilities as her own to manage. She simply took on too much. Ben felt a lot of released tension when he went to college, but he didn't want to burden his mother by sharing anything about his life that would cause her stress. When he went to college, she gave him the freedom to make his own decisions and mistakes, which of course he did, like the time he informed her that he forgot to renew his license plate and was fined for it. But over time, he learned. He was happy to share news with his parents to make them proud, but he didn't know his mom was taking on too much while avoiding her own needs. She rarely made time for her friends. Her life revolved around the family and the house, but never herself. Ben couldn't remember her ever seeing a doctor when she got sick, but she always scheduled appointments for Ben whenever he needed to see a doctor or dentist. Ben's mind was reeling. Ben's mind was reeling, thinking about how much his mom did for him while not doing the same for herself. He realized his parents might not have had the time and energy to focus on themselves. Looking back, they didn't always eat well or exercise regularly, so he decided to make a priority in his life. He needed to be healthy for Luna. Ben created a list of how he wanted to take care of himself. His basic needs and additional necessities were color coded so he could separate them. For example, his camping trips were additional necessities, but healthy food was a basic need. Ben wanted to make sure he was doing the best he could for himself, his daughter, and if things went according to plan, for humanity's migration in the universe. We are reading Lunar Legacy DNA of Success, Chapter 16. The following Sunday, Ben received a message through his website from Jonathan. By the way, these are real people. Greg S. Reid and Ben Haldeman, the authors, are writing about themselves. The following Sunday, Ben received a message through his website from Jonathan Ellis, who wanted to share his legacy. Jonathan wrote that he was an entrepreneur with 6 kids, and their family motto was teamwork makes the dream work. Ben liked this because it was a fresh new perspective from the I can do it all myself approach that was common practice for so many entrepreneurs. In the past, Ben liked to hit goals and achieve success on his own. Now that time was more precious, he sought help and collaboration where he sought help and collaboration whenever he could. Receiving help became his normal everyday approach to work and life. Ben's levels of frustration, tiredness, and stress reduced drastically when he accepted that he didn't need to figure everything out by himself. It was humbling to ask for help, and he also enjoyed talking to coworkers about their specialties and areas of expertise. He found that most people liked being acknowledged and appreciated in this way. As a bonus, he also made more friends by being curious about their passions and interests. As Ben read through the rest of Jonathan's message, one statement in particular caught his eye. Quote, I did not come this far to only get this far. End quote. And Ben felt that in his heart. Every day, he worked hard and pushed forward to make progress for himself and Luna, and it never quite felt like enough. Goals always felt beyond his reach, sometimes expanding and moving further away from them. But that was changing for him and Destiny as well. She had never thought of herself as a business owner, but now she was hunting for potential locations for her studio. They were beginning to see obstacles as hiccups because their goals were too big to let anything get in the way. Ben's dreams had pushed his limits beyond the universe he currently knew. The next dream might already have been written in the stars, but he knew his goals would take him beyond the moon and he would never give up, even if there were glitches along the way. Ben wasn't used to finding alternative routes if his path was closed. They were usually open, but he realized if he wanted to get his DNA to the moon with the others, he would need to create new paths and new options and navigate around them. He would make it happen one way or another, even if he couldn't leave his physical footprints on the moon. It was something he'd always been passionate about, not only for himself, but for others as well. Before Luna was born, he'd asked the guests at her baby shower to write down the name of their favorite story, pastime, funny joke, or life experience. Even those who didn't have kids had meaningful information to share about life, love, and their journey. At the end of the shower, Ben collected all the note cards and attached them to the stars that donned her nursery. From that moment, The legacies of those they loved would always shine down upon his daughter. Ben was still thinking. I didn't come this far only to get only this far. Excuse me. I didn't come this far to only get this far. So he continued inputting the legacies to his computer for the moon. When he was finished, he was still wide awake. So he started journaling. He was not a pen and paper guy. He was not a pen and paper kind of guy. But he had so much he wanted to write. He knew the words would flow faster on his keyboard. His fingers could barely keep up with his brain as he documented all his thoughts, ideas, hopes, fears, and dreams. Ben saved the document and added to it over the next few weeks whenever he felt inspired with more thoughts and ideas to express. He wanted to pass along every granule of knowledge and advice he could conjure up for his daughter. It would always be there to help her, protect her, provide peace, and guide her whenever she needed it. Along with his own personal statements to his daughter, he was grateful for the pearls of wisdom offered by their friends and family members. It made Ben think of his parents so far away, but he took comfort in knowing there would always be a team surrounding them at home as he penned a letter to his little girl. Dear Luna, let me show you how long this letter is. It goes all the way to the end of the chapter. Dear Luna, our journey is one that will last forever, and the decisions of your life will be yours to make. I am here for you to listen, debate, and guide through it all. My heart is yours, and you have already filled my life with the joy and hope that is uniquely you. My promise to you is to support your dreams, whatever they may be. I will encourage your goals and help you reach them and go beyond so long as you are happy. Life can be about career, family, money, or recognition. You get to choose who you want to be and the values that are most important to you. I will show you the ways that have helped me so you can learn from what I have done and take your life to the most beautiful destination you can dream of. Surround yourself with people who love and support you. You will find that love and support in your family, your teammates, friends, and colleagues. Those that doubt you or provide negativity are not supporting your dreams. Find happiness in everyday things. Love, laugh, and play every day of your life because not every day is a great one. I hope you find contentment in the ordinary and peace in your heart. Meditation has helped me find the calm steadiness that I need to ease the tension that hefty goals put on my shoulders. Find what makes your heart feel better and keep doing it. Lastly, experience the world outside of your comfort zone. The world is an exciting place. I will always protect you, so I encourage you to do what thrills you and to push your boundaries and take a chance. That is how we grow and learn. The world is full of inventors who explored new areas and musicians who were scared to get on stage. Have the courage to create new opportunities and take a leap of faith. You will learn that I am far from perfect, but I will love you through the depths of eternity. Your life is precious and will continue to amaze me. Love, Dad. Now, I know I went a little over, but I'm figuring I can edit it out eventually about all that stuff with my lung disease possibility. Okay, I will talk to you again tomorrow. I hope I've inspired you to use your wisdom, do the right thing, and put virtue into your day. Okay? Old Kinderhook.